Hello, I'm Calvin Morris and I'm here today to review Doctor Who The Zygon Invasion. Now this one is intense. I mean, it's really intense. This is a spoiler heavy review, so if you haven't seen the episode I wouldn't recommend watching this. But that being said, strap in. Let's talk about the good, let's talk about the bad, the things I liked, the things I didn't. Let's review Doctor Who. So, the Zygon Invasion. This episode was written by Peter Harness. He's a TV writer who has written... He's written a bit of TV over the past 10 years, but nothing notable, really, I wouldn't have said. I don't think there's anything out there that you'd have seen, or you'd have definitely known him for. That being said though, what he's written here is an episode of Doctor Who that is filled with contemporary political intrigue. It's dealing with terrorism, it's dealing with immigration, it's dealing with a situation breaking down and a ceasefire coming to an end, and how you deal with those sort of circumstances. So it's very, very intense stuff, and it's quite complicated, this one. I don't think I've seen a Doctor Who episode this complicated in a long time. And I'm quite grateful that we got it, because it was nice to not have Doctor Who dumbed down for the audience. I felt that this was almost a breath of fresh air. You know, it's not quite Breaking Bad, okay, but it was definitely of a complexity. If you compare it to previous episodes of Doctor Who, that was clearly a step up. It was a more complex writing style than Doctor Who had been used to for the past few episodes. So let's get right into the story. And the story opens out with Osgood, and we get flashbacks to the 50th anniversary episode. This was fan service, but with Osgood you can get away with it, because Osgood is the only cosplaying Doctor Who fan in the universe. So, within the Doctor Who universe. I don't mean in this universe, I mean inside the Doctor Who universe. She cosplays the Doctor all the time, and here she was wearing the 7th Doctor's shirt with the 7th Doctor's tank top as well. Nice stuff, you know, really nice stuff, and the way her office seemed to be dressed, and there was a lot of fan service to Doctor Who going on with Osgood, and rightfully so. You know, if you've got a character like her, you can get away with it. So and obviously, you know, anytime you've got Ingrid Oliver on screen, why not? You know, just go for it. Cause I love Ingrid Oliver. I think she knocks her at the park when you get her on screen. Obviously, the situation breaks down, and it triggers something called the nightmare scenario. And the message is sent to the Doctor. We find that Osgood is trapped in a sheriff's office in New Mexico, and she sends a signal to the Doctor, which he receives in the TARDIS, and the Doctor is once again playing on his electric guitar. I like this. I'm actually warming to Peter Capaldi's Doctor now, because he's selling it at any opportunity he can. You know, he is the Rockter. Okay, forget the Doctor, he is the Rockter. If you smell what the Rockter's cooking. I don't know. That just come out, okay, I'm sorry. But I do like the fact that he is reminding us at any opportunity. The only thing I would say is that I will not feel happy about his regeneration unless there is a Doctor Who episode where the Doctor is on stage at Woodstock with Jimi Hendrix. You know, if this guy's going to regenerate, it needs to be with Hendrix. I don't know how they do that, I don't care, but that's what I would love to see. I think this Doctor really does feel like, you know, he should be there, you know. So I really did like that. I did not like the fact that once again we're back on Earth. The TARDIS can go anywhere in the universe, anywhere in time and space, and it's bloody well landlocked to Earth. I mean, you know, this guy is not John Pertwee. He's not in exile. He's not trapped on Earth. You know, I would love an entire season of Doctor Who where it doesn't see Earth once. I would love it. Okay? But once again, we're back on Earth. That's the situation. Just deal with it. So, yeah. I was a little bit sort of on the fence about the Zygon terrorist video. I kind of felt that was a little bit, you know, too on the nose. And also, the other thing that I thought of when I was watching it was the Doctor phones Clara after the situation starts triggering off, and she picks up the phone, sees the Doctor, goes to answer it, then starts to talk and then hangs up. If the Doctor phones you, you answer the bloody call, okay? Because if he's phoning you, it's not to pick up some milk, okay? It's not to, oh, remember to pop into the shop and get me a lottery ticket. It is, crap's going down, you need to answer the phone. Particularly considering that on the phone it said, missed calls 127. You know something's up if it's more than 8, okay? If it's more than 9, if it's more than 127, you need to be phoning him back straight away. Again, this show also seems to be dealing with hybrids. I'm not sure why. You know, obviously this is something to do with the story arc of the show, but it's all about hybrids. This has been a theme that has been since the start of the season, so I guess that's the theme that we're running with this year. So yeah, the Doctor is looking for the leaders of the Zygons to convince them that they need to work together to resolve this, to find the Zygon splinter cells, and to try to resolve the situation before it ends in war. Again, this is something that the Doctor does, but once, how can I put this? Every single time you think that you're going to deal with something serious, Doctor Who, for some reason, decides to throw in something ridiculous. And in this case, it was 2 leading Zygons hiding inside 2 schoolgirls. Why? I mean, it's not that they couldn't do it, but don't do something just because you can do it. Okay? Do something because it's necessary, but don't just do it because, oh, this will be funny. Stop. Just treat this with a little bit of respect, you know. I thought that for most of the episode we were getting some real good back and forth with you know, dealing with a situation which is on the brink. I mean, this situation is, you know, if you bomb them, you're going to start a war. If you don't negotiate with them, you're going to start a war. If you get this wrong, you're going to start a war. If the negotiations break down, you're going to start a war. It's a very fragile situation. And I thought there was a lot of good back and forth here, not just between Unit and the Doctor, but between the entire situation, with what's going on with Clara. And I'm going to get around to that in a bit. But before I do, I want to address the camera work in this episode. Now, people have heard me bang on about camera work before. The camera work in this episode was goddamn appalling. Okay? It was terrible. Unless it was an establishing shot or a walk-in shot, nobody in this episode was filmed below the shoulders. My TV screen was taken up with 2/3 face. And it didn't do it any favours, because there were shots in this episode whereby the camera was behaving like an observer. It was sort of rocking back and forth slowly, looking through scenery and moving, and all that effect was getting wiped out. There was just no intrigue going on. There was one really nice shot, I thought, whereby it was really showing the isolation, which was when Kate Stewart was walking into the sheriff's office, and it started off really close and the camera kept following her and then stopped, and then she went off into the distance. You could see she was isolated. There was nobody around. But most of the time, well, let me demonstrate, okay? Instead of the camera being like it is now, whereby you can see me from sort of the waist up, the camera was like this all the time. I mean, almost every shot. I mean, even over the shoulder shots were like this, where the back of somebody's head and their shoulder were taking up a third of the screen. Now, why does this annoy me? Because there's no need for it. You know, unless you're filming Muppets, people have legs. It's okay to show people, you know, from the waist up. It's okay to show people from the knees. You know, being that close does not create tension. In fact, when things start getting intense and the camera pushes in really close to a close-up on their faces, you lose the effect. It just wipes it all out. And the other thing that annoyed me with this episode was the quick editing. There was so much quick editing, even when they were on the same shot. There were times when they were cut from this angle to an angle that was very similar, just slightly closer in. Why? Why would you do that? I mean, this episode almost gave me a headache because of the quick cuts back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You know, the shots whereby you get the camera looking past a person to this person and past the person to this person, fine. Or having somebody in a two-shot, fine. But this was just like, wow. 1 minute it's there, 1 minute it's there. 1 minute it's shot over here, 1 minute it's shot over there, then it's shot over there, then it's shot there, then it's shot there. We have to shoot this. It was just too much cut in. You know, I realised that they tried to make it more intense by sharpening up on the editing, but damn, I nearly walked away with a migraine. It was just, oh, I haven't seen a film, a TV show or anything filmed like this since I watched A Good Day to Die Hard, and that's probably the worst thing I've ever seen filmed. I've seen iPhone videos that have been much better quality. The reason why it's a problem is because that by filming people like this, you have no sense of geography. You have very little in relation to how they interact with the environment. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to bang on about this, but it really bothered me. So that's pretty much it, I think, for all the negatives of this episode. Let's get into some of the positives. Okay, Kate Lethbridge Stewart. Anytime you want to put her on screen in the Doctor Who universe, I'm fine with having, you know, Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart on screen. Perfectly fine. Give me Unit any day of the week. I'm very happy to see her back. Again, Ingrid Oliver, put her on screen. I'm fine with that as well. She does a damn good job. Again, I liked Peter Capaldi. I like what he's doing. I'm fairly sure that when next week's episode comes out, it's probably going to turn out that he's a Zygon. Okay, I feel like when he starts addressing to himself as the Doctor, you know, instead of saying I'm going to go to this place, he said the Doctor's going to go to this place. I'm fairly sure that's a giveaway that he's a Zygon. So yeah, the other thing I really liked about this episode is Jenna Coleman. Now, I am not a fan of Clara. I think Clara tends to do too much, and she's too forceful at times, and the character of Clara is often too much the Doctor and doesn't take enough of a back step to be the companion. And first of all, in this episode she was, and here's the big spoiler: when you find out what's going on with her, oh, she is so good. Oh, I mean, I know she's leaving soon, and a lot of people are going to be happy that Clara is going to be saying goodbye so that we can get it out of the TARDIS, just because, again, like I said, it's too much. It's Clara who and the Doctor. But honestly, her dramatic performances are absolutely knockout. I can't wait to see what Jenna Coleman does next. I know she's doing like a short film, and I believe she's doing a short film, and then I think it's 2 TV shows after Doctor Who. But I mean, really and truly, she was. She every single time she gets a dramatic performance, she knocks it out of the park. So the dramatic performances in this show were great. I felt that a lot of the time this episode was theatrically staged. You know, in that the actors tended to be sort of, when they were talking to each other, they were sort of like that. You know, they weren't facing each other during the conversation. They were more facing the audience. You know, as they tend to do in theatre. Which is very unnatural, but it seemed pretty obvious in this that, you know, either that or you'd have a person here and a person would be standing in front and they would just sort of turn their head to talk to them as opposed to actually turning their body. Very unnatural movements, but it made me giggle, I'm not going to lie. I thought it was a little bit sort of, wow, this is a bit 1970s staging, but okay, let's go with it. Still enjoyed it. Overall, I thought the episode was very good, and like I said, the things I didn't like were pretty much due to camera work and editing, and I felt a lot of tension was lost in those moments. But story-wise, wow, I mean, story-wise, this episode stepped up. You know, for everything that I didn't like, the story, if I was just listening to this story as opposed to watching it, I think I'd have been really sold by it. I felt that the production of this episode done well. I could buy that was New Mexico, or what was it, Turkmenistan or something like that. So I could buy that those locations were those locations. I felt that the additional background scenery that was being added in via visual effects, and what they'd done for set dressing and things like that, I thought the entire production looked pretty good. It's just a shame of the way that they photographed it, which kind of let everything down. Now, is there anything else that I'm trying to think of? No, that's pretty much it. I mean, this story is sort of dealing with a Splinter Cell uprising, trying to wipe out UNIT to take away any sort of threats so that they can eventually take over the planet. It's an alien invasion story, but it is looking at it from political intrigue, and I felt that for what it was, this story done really, really well. I would give this an 8 out of 10, but honestly I can't get past the shoddy work by but I don't know who thought filming it like this was a good idea. Like I said, it almost gave me a headache. So I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. We'll see how it wraps up in the second part. But yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it. What did you think of this episode? What do you think of the political influences of this story? Do you like the fact that it's back on Earth again? Are you? I mean, I can't imagine anybody would be happy about that, but what do you think of the story involving the Zygons? Or, you know, what's going on with Osgood or Clara? Let me know. Anyway, that's it from me, and I'm going to see you next time for the next review of Doctor Who. But until then, I'll see you later, guys.